Borderlands 3 is right around the corner, so like with a lot of new video game releases, we're here to catch you guys up on all the info with 10 things you need to know about Borderlands 3. Some of this we've covered previously, but more info is dropping every day, so let's just get started off with number 10. First, we'll talk about the Vault Hunters. It wouldn't be a new Borderlands game without having a roster of Vault Hunters to go and shoot dudes with, so with the release of Borderlands 3, we get a set of 4 brand new characters here. Starting off with the new cast, we have Amara. This is the game's Siren. Like Sirens in previous games, she has a bunch of cool astral powers that you can use to really tear stuff up with cool abilities like being able to cast off an astral form to mess dudes up with elemental damage, as well as stuff like a leaping ground pound, very similar to the Destiny 2 Titan Arc super. Next up, we have Flak, the Beastmaster, who's basically the Hunter class equivalent for Borderlands 3. That said, it's still different enough, as Flak also acts as a pet class, having command over a Skag, Jabber, or Spider Ant, and can do stuff like charging the creatures with radiation, and can even stealth around with a temporary cloaking ability, and get the drop on unsuspecting enemies. Then you have Mose the Gunner, whose big selling point is being able to summon a big freaking mech called Iron Bear. Now, while tethered to a big robot at times, Mose's playstyle is actually surprisingly flexible, especially when comparing it to other turret and gunner classes who would have to plop down stationary turrets. On top of that, other Vault Hunters can climb on top of your suit and use some external guns just to wreak havoc in the wasteland. It's really cool. Then finally, we have Zane the Operative. Zane is being billed more as like a flexible class. It's sort of a mix between a soldier, a hunter, and an assassin, and is the only Vault Hunter able to map 2 active abilities at once, making him a pretty great choice if you want more of a jack-of-all-trades character that can be viable in a variety of different combat scenarios. He can do some really cool stuff like draw aggro from enemies with a decoy hologram, which can be super useful for setting up some flanking routes with a group, and he can also just make use of stuff like an attack drone, which can lend support in a firefight. Like other Borderlands games, there's a lot to choose from here, and honestly, on the surface, they look really cool, so that's good. Now, next at number 9, let's talk about Sanctuary 3. This is the ship that you'll be using to get around once you get off Pandora in the early points of the game. Think of it sort of as your hub area, really. It's basically a hub town, but it's all condensed in walls and rooms in this ship. You can check out your vehicles you have in the hangar bay. Crazy Earl is there, as well as other characters just scattered throughout the ship in various rooms. In Hammerlock's room, you can store enemy trophies, and there are shops around with Moxie involved, and most importantly, Sanctuary 3 is how you get from planet to planet. As of right now, we know there's Pandora, Eden 6, Promethea, and Athenas. Borderlands 2 had no problem with variety, but I think now having complete planetary variety lets the team do way more interesting stuff, so we're looking forward to seeing exactly how these worlds really unfold, especially because Meridian itself, the city, looks really cool. Next at number 8, let's talk about the Guardian rank. Essentially, the badass ranks and badass points system from Borderlands 2 have been completely expanded upon and fleshed out here. This concept allowed you to continue to play and grind nearly endlessly, and in Borderlands 3 with the now named Guardian rank, there's more to earn. So as you rank up, skills and skins exclusive to this gameplay system can be unlocked, which is pretty sweet. It's all about completing little side objectives like killing X amount of enemies with a particular gun. It's really all in the great pursuit, the endless pursuit of making the numbers go up. But for them to go the extra mile here and give you more to work towards within just ranking up and making those numbers go up, that's really nice to see. The fact that now you're getting tangible loot out of badass ranks and now Guardian ranks is really interesting. And Gearbox has also confirmed that every character that's on your account will get these benefits. So that's really nice. And since we're talking endgame stuff, at number 7, let's talk about Proving Grounds and Circle of Slaughter. This makes up a good chunk of what you're doing in endgame content, not to mention raids, which the game will apparently have, but none are actually confirmed as of this time. First, you need to know Circle of Slaughter returns from the previous games. This is the wave-based horde mode thing. There will be arenas in various worlds to engage in. But now there's also Proving Grounds. These are replayable challenges that, according to Gearbox, players need to find scattered hidden alien language codes to find the location of these seeming arena trials, with a bunch of different optional objectives too. Find the location of these seeming arena trials with a bunch of different optional objectives within them. Apparently Borderlands 3 at launch will have 6 of these challenges. Apparently they're still holding more information, but big picture wise, at the time of making this video, this is what we know. Now next at number 6, this is something absolutely worth knowing. Borderlands 3 will have split-screen couch co-op support for PS4 and Xbox One. Yes, there's not really too much to say about that, but for a lot of people out there who are fans of Borderlands as a series, this is how they choose to play it. And I really think for a modern video game in 2019 getting full split screen support, that is worth highlighting and supporting. As you can probably see, there's no mention yet of PC support, as pretty much was the case with previous games, but it can likely be modded in the future if 2K and Gearbox don't provide it. More ways to play are always good though, and we'll always applaud that. Next at number 5, a big and definitely welcome change coming to Borderlands 3 is instanced loot. This is pretty big. In previous games, one thing that was annoying about playing with other players was how the loot worked. So it was all shared, so if someone picked up a piece of loot, that loot wasn't available for anyone else in the session to pick up, and if players had varying levels, some loot was useless and underpowered, or it was overpowered and level restricted so you couldn't use it anyway. In Borderlands 3, there's a default toggle called instanced loot, and what this does is drop loot that is specifically tailored to each player, so it'll drop in accordance to your level, and it'll only drop for you specifically. So another player can't run by and steal it from you, which I think as a whole is awesome, because now you won't be left out in the cold with no loot, even though you put in your fair share of work. It also just makes playing with your friend way easier, no more worrying about levels. This whole instance loot thing is something that you can turn off, and you can play in classic mode, which it's nice to have the option. It makes everything work the way it did in previous games, if you're crazy and you actually want to do that to yourself for some reason, but I digress. Let's move on. Because number 4, speaking of loot, let's talk about the guns. We know there are 2 new confirmed weapon manufacturers. That's COV, Children of the Vault, which is replacing Bandit, and Atlas is returning. From what we know, it's these and the ones we know are already returning from other games. There are also a couple more floating around thanks to a data mine, but we won't spoil the surprise if they turn out to be true. But the weapons themselves here, obviously, are the star of the show, and really what's most exciting. Also, they said that there's actually like 1 billion guns in the game. To make 1 billion guns actually feel somewhat different from one another, Borderlands 3 is giving the majority of guns some sort of alternate firing mode, which is great not only for variety, but you can also approach combat differently and really switch up your attack style on the fly, since changing firing modes is as simple as hitting down on the D-pad. The developers also made cool tweaks to the disposable guns that you would literally pick up and throw away once the clip was expended, giving them a lot of unique effects like bouncing around the area and exploding, and this is also where the whole guns with legs thing from the announcement trailer comes in. Also, it looks to us like grenades have been greatly expanded with unique abilities and use cases for a lot of them, and they look like a ton of fun. But down to number 3, let's acknowledge cross-platform play for a second. It hit the news cycle huge a while back, but I'm sorry to disappoint some people who maybe aren't up to date. It's not happening. As of right now, at launch, players on one platform will not be able to play with those on another platform. Now, Randy Pitchford, Gearbox CEO, confirmed at launch that it is definitely not happening. But in the past, he has expressed interest and stressed that it's an absolute necessity. It's something that they've been, and I quote, looking at closely. And the best quote really is this one, that they're, and I quote, committed to supporting crossplay for Borderlands 3 with our partners as soon as practicable. Borderlands honestly would be a great game for crossplay, and hell, even some sort of cross-account thing because of the way it can be played for a really long time, and some players seem to just be clamoring for these features. So I wouldn't rule it out as a possibility, at least with the way other games are doing it more recently. But over at number 2, since it's 2019 and this is the thing now, Borderlands 3 will have microtransactions. Let's talk about them. Good old microtransactions. I know, but like before you go running for your torches and pitchforks, this is the deal. Microtransactions are bad, and in Borderlands 3, they're cosmetic only. So some people are okay with that, some people are not. But here's what to expect. You'll be able to buy skins and heads for your Vault Hunter and skins for your vehicles and weapons as well. So nothing is going to be pay to win, technically, and nothing is going to affect the gameplay. Borderlands 3 isn't a games as a service type game totally, so there aren't going to be any like XP boosts or anything weird like that. So I guess like best case scenario in a bad situation, if this is all there is, I mean then also there's probably going to be DLC added down the line. That's almost a definite considering how much support Borderlands 2 got. But regardless of how you feel about them, this is just a video where we're keeping you up to date. Now you know what to expect in the main game. But lastly, coming down to number 1, let's get right into some housekeeping. Borderlands 3 is set to release on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC on the Epic Game Store on September 13th. The game will be enhanced for Xbox One X, although to what extent remains unclear at the time of this video, and on PS4 Pro, players will be able to prioritize resolution or frame rate. Now, as with pretty much every big AAA game releasing these days, there's a variety of different ways you can buy it, and it gets confusing. You can pick up the basic standard edition for the regular price, but if you want more, you can get the deluxe edition for roughly $80 in the United States. This comes with the base game, as well as the deluxe bonus content, which is said to be 5 content packs containing character and weapon skins, trinkets, mods, and more. That said, if you want even more than that, you can score the $100 Super Deluxe Edition. This one comes with the game, all the aforementioned Deluxe Edition stuff, as well as the Season Pass for all 4 planned campaign DLC packs, as well as a Butt Stallion cosmetic pack. We do know that there are going to be at least 4 planned DLC packs, so that's another thing to worry about down the line. Now, if you're somehow stopping and thinking, that's not enough, can I spend $250 on this game? The answer is yeah. Yeah, you can. There's a retailer exclusive called Diamond Loot Chest Exclusive Collector's Edition, which comes with the game, a steelbooks, all of the deluxe and season pass content, the gold weapon skin pack, a cloth map of the galaxy, 4 vault key keychains, 5 character art lithographs, 10 character figurines, a Sanctuary 3 model kit, and a diamond loot vest replica. Yeah, it's a lot, but if you're into Borderlands, it might be your thing. I don't know. I'm not gonna judge how you spend your money, but now you're all caught up, you're up to date on what the hell Borderlands 3 is. Like we said, it's dropping on September 13th. That's very soon, so now you're informed. Let us know anything you want to know about Borderlands 3 down in the comments. How you feel about it, what you're thinking, what you're looking forward to. Let's talk. Now, if you enjoyed this video and maybe you learned something, clicking the like button is the best way you can help us out. We'd really appreciate it. And if you're new, consider subscribing and hitting that notification button because we put out videos every single day. But, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.